Hey guys, LootWizard here with another Soulforge video on Gems of War. So we have a new week going on here, a new event, new troop, and new things in the Soulforge. So as usual, we're going to go check those out and see what we got here. We'll go to weapons here first. We got these three here, but I don't really think these are that great. This is kind of your, classic mana generating weapon that's for a particular ally type. And there's a few of them that are good because there's certain really great mythics or legendaries that are of that type. And also you have to consider the class because every class is a certain kind of troop. But that one, I wouldn't recommend getting that one. This one I'm not going to recommend. Doesn't really look like there's a lot of good weapons here. Doomed, Libram, scatter damage. Create a mix of green gems and skulls for every green enemy, and again, that's, depending on the enemy. So unless you're using something like this in Guild Wars and the enemy is using an all-green team, something like if you're using this weapon for PvP, it's just not going to be that good because you cannot predict, that people are going to use an all-green team for that. So I would skip that weapon. It's not worth the 900 diamonds. We have Sky Hero, which is pretty good in some teams. It will destroy a column, and for every yellow gem destroyed, create 4 red gems. And so the boost ratio is 4 here. But it's a good weapon in certain teams. But again, you have weapons like the Rage Reaver, which we had recently, that I think is probably better. Also, you have Flamifer, which I think is probably better than this one. But it's only 300 diamonds, and if you use red a lot, it might be worth it. But, especially if you're collecting weapons, it's probably worth it. This wand here, explode 34 red gems, grant a random status effect to all Shentang allies, then summon a Shentang troop. This one might be worth getting if you don't have it and you do use these troops a lot. But this is, it's going to explode red gems here, and for the weapon won't take red, but if you're using a lot of good red troops in your team, this could be good for that. But then it says it grants a random status effect to all of Shentang allies, so it's going to work the best in an all Shentang team. But I already own one of these. But I honestly, I don't really use it that often because I don't use a full Shentang team too often. Alright, moving on to troops. I'm going to go through the summoning stones really quick, as I usually do, just to see if there's anything in here that catches my eye. Sometimes there is a troop that is pretty good that you can get in here. So far, nothing catches my eye. Vlad the Unsated is pretty good sometimes. That's in purple. And looks like that's pretty much it. So maybe Vlad, but I wouldn't say he's as good as something like Ragnagord if that pops up in here. But yeah, that's all there is for summoning stones. Now moving on to legendaries and mythic troops, we have the Imp of Love here in the Forge, and of course because it is springtime now, I think was it the first day of spring? Today, yesterday, I don't know. My days are all messed up, but that's probably why this is in the Forge, because it's springtime. But we have deal 44 scatter damage and charm a random enemy. And charm is a damage type that deals that troop's attack damage to the troops above and below it. And then it says, if I'm wounded, either bless all allies or give 3 magic to all allies. Now, all of these imp troops, if you have them fully traded, will gain 8 magic on matching the color that they are. This one's red, so it will give you 8 magic to this scatter damage here for every red gem that you match. Which, if you have certain troops like the mythic troop Shibanu Vespera, these imp troops can be really amazing. This one, not so much in that team because Vespera doesn't have red in it. So if you go and I think the winter imp and what's the other one? I think there's a imp that uses yellow. I forget what it's called, but There's a blue imp and a yellow one that I think work, and there's a purple one, I believe, too, because I think those are the 3 colors for Shapanu Vespera, and there's like those 3 colors of imps work pretty good with it. But this one is not one of those because it has red, but still a decent troop. So that's a legendary, and I'm going to skip over the mythics real quick here because we want to do legendaries first. So we have Scylla here in the Forge, Dullahan, and the Basilisk. So none of these legendary troops are really all that good, honestly. Scylla I rarely ever use except when I want to create a Bone Storm consistently on a 4 or 5 match. So like how that's really good is that if a Bone Storm, I think, works best when you have a troop that can explode the whole board, like Gorgatha or Ragnagord or something like that that's going to explode the whole board. And then at the top of your team, you have some kind of troop like Web Spinner that can do just insane skull damage. And then you have this maybe at the bottom of your troop or of your team's troop list. And once you get a Bone Storm going with a 4 or 5 match, if you explode the whole board, you're going to have a ton of skulls coming down at once, and you can do an insane amount of damage with something like a Web Spinner up at the top. So that's usually how I use a legendary troop like this, and that's really all I would use Scylla for, is that Bone Storm. Dullahan is just a really bizarre legendary. It has a lethal kill on it, but it kills either the first enemy or your first ally. And it's bizarre, so I really don't use that. Basilisk is kind of weird too. It does true damage to an enemy, but then it's got all these conditions about if the enemy is poisoned, deal double damage. Then it says deal 25 true damage again, and if they're stunned, deal double damage. There's all these like weird conditions on this one here, but it does have one of those conditions met in its traits. Well, it will stun a random enemy when matching brown gems. It does use brown as well, so something like this, maybe with Mountain Crusher, you get a lot of brown matching, and you can really stun pretty much the whole team, and then meet one of the conditions here of if they're stunned, deal double damage. So, but it's kind of weird with all those conditions. It's really weird legendaries here on the Forge this week. So, as far as like which one is a good legendary to get, honestly, it's kind of hard to say. Scylla, like I probably, out of all 4 of these legendary troops, I probably in my mind have the most knowledge of a good team to make with Scylla, like I just explained with the Web Spinner and something that explodes the whole board and all that. So I'm probably going to go with Scylla as my number 1 legendary here, and then probably Basilisk, and then probably Imp of Love over Dullahan, because that's just my opinion. Some people might disagree, but I really just don't really like Dullahan. It usually kills my first ally instead of the enemy every time I use it. I'm just like, why? So I don't use it. Alright, now looking at mythics, we don't really have any fantastic mythic troops this week. Infernus is probably, as you can see here, is probably the best one this week. We got Wolf Garrick, which I showed off a team with Wolf Garrick doing explore battles a while back, several months ago, and it's not bad in whatever team that I had going with that. I think it was with like the 2 Guardians that are war gear, so that I could boost like the damage of this with it. It was something like that. But when this, okay, so the gimmick with its ability is that it will devour a random enemy if an enemy dies from its spell. So the whole trick is you've got to get an enemy low enough for its spell damage to kill it. Then it's going to devour a random enemy, and you have to hope that that random enemy is not blessed or immune to devour. So it's a little bit underwhelming as a troop, and it's a 22 mana cost, so not that great. Infernus used to be really, really amazing. Now it's like average, in my opinion. There's like a good probably 5 or so mythic troops that I can think of that are just like really great that you need to get before even considering Infernus. Things like Tina 9000, things like the Grey King. Those are some mythic troops there, and like the Wild Queen. Like those are mythic troops that I would consider getting way before Infernus. But Infernus does do splash damage to 2 random enemies, which is going to deal pretty much splash damage to the whole enemy team most of the time. Then it will explode 5 random gems, and that is a kind of a good thing here that it isn't based on magic. So if you do get Infernus early on in the game, it's always going to explode the 5 random gems. And early on, that's amazing. Later on, it's got diminishing returns because you have other troops that can really explode the board way better. But it does have a burn all enemies on 4 or 5 gem matches, which could be useful for doing more damage to the enemy troops if you have something, another troop, or if you have a talent in one of the classes that can do that for you. Now, Doomclaw is another Devour troop, but in my opinion, it's still pretty bad. It deals damage to an enemy boosted by enraged allies with separate 25 chances to devour the next enemy above and below. So it has like basically 2 chances to devour enemies, but it's a 25% chance. And if you know anything about these chances in Gems of War, 25% chance is like probably about a 5% chance that it's going to devour. Like when you get anything below like 50% chance, whenever you use it, it just feels awful. Like the percent of the times that it's going to proc that percentage for you. So anything that's like 75% and higher it's still weird. When you have like those streaks of like 3, 4, or 5 times in a row, it doesn't do its thing. But at least when it's 75% or so higher of a chance, like it more times, you see it happen more times. But yeah, Doomclaw is pretty bad. It's about equal with Wolf Garrick. I'd say maybe even a little worse than Wolf Garrick. Because Wolf Garrick, you can get almost a guaranteed devour if you can kill it with its spell damage. And so if you can boost its spell damage, you can get almost a guaranteed devour. Doomclaw, you can never increase it beyond the 25% chance. So that, I'm just saying, that's how bad, in my opinion, Doomclaw is. Wolf Garrick is actually better. As far as the other mythic troop, we have Flame of Anu. And if any of you have been around and have watched my videos when this thing actually came out, I was so disappointed in its ability. And I'm just surprised that they've left it. They haven't, buffed this troop at all. I mean, it's really awful as a mythic, and it's a 24 mana cost. It's just absolutely awful. Deals 38 damage to the first 2 enemies boosted by burning and fairy fired enemies. It will burn and fairy fire a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. This thing should be a legendary troop, and even if it was a legendary troop with like a 16 mana cost, it would still be a pretty bad legendary, because we have other legendary troops that do basically this already. And so why this is a mythic troop? Like, I don't know. It feels like an April Fool's mythic. That's all I'm going to say. So, is it worse than Doomclaw? Like if Doomclaw actually devours a troop, it might be better. Because, but I'm going to say that Doomclaw and Flame of Anu are equal, because Doomclaw's devour chances are so small. 25% chance is so small. It's going to frustrate you a lot. And at least this has dealing 38 damage twice every time you cast it. And they're basically the same mana cost. So I'm going to say those two are like equal. And so here's what I'm going to say. Infernus is number 1. Wolf Garrick is number 2. And Doomclaw and Flame of Anu are tied for last. That's in the order in which I would put them for this week if you were going to craft anything. And I'm just going to say right now, I would totally skip Wolf Garrick, Doomclaw, and Flame of Anu. Do not craft those. There are probably a good like 10 or 12 mythic troops that I would craft any day, twice. Not just once, but twice before getting those guys. So that's my opinion. Alright, so I'm pretty much done here with troops, and let's head on over to the shop, and let's go here and get my resources. I'm really stocking up on these event keys now. Really, the only thing I use them for anymore is a new legendary when they come out with it, because that's really the only way you can get new legendaries. As soon as they come out, you go in here, and it's going to be in your event keys. I got 1,700 right now. But really racking up some of these gem and glory keys, though, because I've gotten really lucky with mythics recently, and like in my guild keys when they come out. And we should be due for another mythic here in a couple of weeks. I don't know what the first Friday of April is. What is it? It's the 2nd. Whoa. That is so close to the 1st. I think maybe the devs will try to do an April Fool's mythic. That could be the next one. We'll find out. So I don't know why I clicked on troops. Anyway, though, but if a new legendary comes out, it's going to be in event keys. When the new mythic comes out, first Friday of every month, it's going to be in your guild keys, your glory keys, gem keys, and in VIP keys. And you can only open VIP keys if you've spent real money on the game, and which I have over the few years that I've played it. So, but let's go check out the new troop here. That's why I was in the shop. Got distracted by talking about my event keys and new legendaries. So here is the new troop. Baihu, I believe is how you say its name. And the ability is West Wind Strike. Nice little charged up electric tornado. It says its ability creates 3 yellow gems. It deals 34 damage to an enemy boosted by yellow gems. The boost ratio is 2 to 1. That's going to be half. And it enchants itself. Ooh. That's not bad. Its mana cost is 12. It's divine. It's beast. So you could make this thing start with half mana if you use the divine or the beast legendary troops that do that. As for its traits, it will, the last trait here, it gains 1 magic for each ally with a banding trait. I do not know what banding trait means. I must have missed something in an update or something. So if you know what that is, post a comment below on this video and educate me, because I don't know what a banding trait is. And yes, I'm not too afraid to mention my ignorance sometimes here in this game. Alright, so for its ability, it's not bad. I mean, it's gonna create 3 yellow gems, which isn't, it's not amazing, but something. And then it's going to deal damage to an enemy boosted by yellow gems. So you could have, like, let's say if you have a dozen yellow gems on the board, it's going to add half of that to the damage, give you an extra 6 damage. So it's not amazing, but it's not like it's not a bottom tier trash troop, I guess. So, And looks like we are getting 2 Arcane Blade trait stones for 400 glory this week. So now's the time to snatch those up if you have legendary troops, mythics, or classes that will need that Arcane trait stone. Alright, so let's, we got the shop done, and we got Soulforge done. Let's go ahead and check out the new event here that's going on. It looks like there's only 1 event going on this week, which is nice. Let's go and check out the shop. I don't think there's any weapons here. It's just, we need to get a medal. I could go for just a badge, but I usually like getting up to a medal. And I don't remember off the top of my head if Shentang has a lot of, like, skull troops. So I hope, I really, really hope. There we go. Medal of the West. I really hope that they just do spell damage instead of forcing us to do skulls. Oh, yes. It's spell damage. Honestly, they should just do 160 spell and skull damage for every single one of these. It's the simplest way to do it, and that way they don't have to think. I mean, apparently they're not really thinking about it anyway, so that's what they should do. Alright, so let's go in here and let's build ourselves a nice little team. And I kind of threw a couple of troops in here real quick. The troop type is divine, and the mana color is yellow. So all of your divine troops, and they have to use the yellow color. And your weapon doesn't have to be divine necessarily, I don't think. It just has to use yellow. So we have a lot of options for weapons. If we go to rarity, we can see a bunch of cool stuff. Doomed Axe is available, which is pretty nice, but we're not using skulls this time around. Dawnbringer is here, so if you do have that, that is great. Dancing Daggers is a yellow weapon. This is a class weapon that comes from the monster class. I forget what it's called. But that one's not that hard to get. This is also a class weapon. This is from another class too. I think this is from the Stormcaller class, if I'm not mistaken. So we got a couple of good weapons there. Flammifer is in here if you want to create a bunch of red gems. It creates 10 red gems. It deals some damage boosted by red gems. That's a pretty good weapon if you do have it. And what else here? Guardian Crown is just like a really annoying defensive type of weapon. Doesn't do any damage except skull damage, but it's really annoying because it gains 57 life and armor and it moves itself to the front every single time. And then if you do have it fully upgraded, it silences the first enemy, gains 4 mana, gains barrier every time you use it. It's really, really annoying as a weapon. So if you want to annoy the crap out of someone in PvP, that's the weapon to get. Now, I put Divine Ishbala in here and Keelan because those two are like legendary together. Like seriously, they're amazing together. Rope Dart's in here, so that's an option. We are focusing on spell damage. And so, like early on, I probably don't want to use that defensive weapon. Probably want to go with something that's doing damage to all enemies. And we could use Dawnbringer because yellow is our color, and Dawnbringer does gain a bonus when we have all yellow allies. But I just went over a couple of those other options because not everybody has Dawnbringer, but these class weapons are definitely an option to use for that. The only thing about Dawnbringer here is I'm going to be blocking the red for Keelan, which is kind of unfortunate. So let's just put Dancing Daggers in there. What the heck? And then Stone Hammer I did have at the top, but yellow is going to block the rest of it there. But it will create red and brown. I mean, let's see what other troops we have here. We can change that up. Let's see. We could throw in something just for support, like Divinia. It's going to explode, cleanse, and give life to everything. So it's a mana generator, plus it's going to, down here with its final trait, it's going to give a random status effect to an ally in 4 or 5 matches. That's kind of cool. You know, some other noteworthy troops in here is Infernus, does its all splash damage. We have Ishtara, which deals damage to all enemies. It creates 9 yellow gems, blesses, all that cool stuff. Jotnar Storm Shield is kind of cool too, but its damage is boosted by giant allies, not divine, and that's what we have to use this time around. But you could use it passively to gain barrier on 4 or 5 matches. We have Queen Aurora, which we could throw in here. This is a mythic troop that has Rainbow Link. We gain a bonus mana at the all mana gem matches. Plus, it can give life to other allies, barrier, and all that stuff. Creates mana too, so... but the only color we got going for that is green there. Other troops that you could use for spell damage, and that's the thing, like right here, these are going to be doing skull damage. So actually, we do want to change that up a little bit because we're not doing skull damage this time around. We're doing spell damage. So. Yeah. We could go ahead here. Let's do Infernus. Infernus, we could do that, or we could do Ishtara, deals damage to all enemies, creates 9 yellow gems. Look at this. We have Skady in here, so if you want to do an Ice Storm every turn, you could do that. If you want to make like a blue team for Divine, plus you got Valkyrie in here. So that would be great. You got Will and Nisha too, which is kind of nice. We could put Will and Nisha in here, and because Will and Nisha is gonna give 1 stat to all purple allies. Infernus is purple. We don't have purple on Dancing Daggers, but that's okay. But it would increase the damage of Infernus. So there's a couple of yeah, there's definitely some ideas here. As far as like blue though, I guess if you wanted to make like a blue team, you could do Urali. You could put Urali in there for some juicy true damage. So like this team right here is... I wish I could save this team. Maybe I can, yeah, let me copy this team because I might come back to it. Let's make a blue team here. So let's throw Skady in there for the Ice Storm. And then for damage, let's do Urali. And then we could put Valkyrie in there for some extra blue mana generation. And then we can... yeah, for the weapon... let's see here. We could leave Dancing Daggers. We could. Or we could switch it and put Valkyrie up there. And to get that blue going. Yeah. Unless we got like a yellow-brown weapon. Just looking here really quick to see what else we got. Because the only color that I'm missing here is brown. Let me do a quick search here, what we got. We got Flammiferous, gonna create red. Of course we got that. That isn't gonna do any damage at all. We just got a lot of these class weapons, which is weird. We got this weapon, which deals splash damage to an enemy, and if there's a storm, deal double damage. This is going to create a storm for us, so we could go ahead and just throw that in there for the heck of it. And for class, I mean, I guess Titan's good as anything here. As far as banner, we're going to go blue, yellow. So let's see what we got here. Double blue, yellow. I guess we'll go with, yeah, one of these two. If you go with green, that's going to hit your rally a little bit, but green isn't going to be a big issue because we're going to be creating so much blue. So I don't want to negative the brown because that's for the weapon there. And, yeah, so I'm going to go with a team like this. But we got a lot of options between weapons and troops this week, so I'm pretty happy with that. And right away, we got this splash damage here. And as soon as Valkyrie's powered up, we can do this. Get ourselves a 4-match. Rally is like instantly powered up. And we could have killed everything with that because it's doing true damage. And again, we're getting 160% spell damage. So on top of the true damage, which is already really fantastic. And this splash damage, is, if there's 3 enemies like that in the early stages, you're just going to obliterate them. I usually like to do a couple of battles here till we get up close to like level 100 just to see like where my team's at, if it's good enough to keep going. But yeah, so far, like, here we go. True damage. Boom. It's going to kill everything. So Urali is great, plus we got that Ice Storm going with Skady, however you want to say the name. Skady or Skady. But yeah, what's nice about Valkyrie here is you just get a lot of this. You can pretty much get 4 matches, like, so easy. And yeah, just cast this once, boom, everything's dead. Super fun. I love true damage. It's like one of the best damage types in the game. Urali isn't like the greatest troop, but in situations like this, it's actually kind of decent. Especially with that 160% spell damage. Yeah, we're just going to go like that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this team. You know, the other team that I had with Infernus and all that stuff, it would probably still work too, but this one is pretty decent. I like it. I'll probably stick with it for quite a while. I love storms, and I like explosions. I like, you know, most of you guys probably know this about me already, but I really like explosions and destroying gems, exploding the board, doing all that stuff. And one of the best combinations that you can do is have some troop that has a storm going every single turn, and then you have another troop that can explode the board, and then it's just beautiful. Like, you get so much mana generation, and then if you include a talent like Lightning Strike on top of that, it's like pure bliss. Let's see, what can we do with this? I guess I'm stuck with purple here and get myself a nice extra turn. And let's see if this kills everything. And it does, because we have 160% skull damage. Or not skull damage. Well, what am I thinking? It's spell damage, not skulls. Caught myself. I probably make mistakes like that all the time and I don't even catch myself. Yeah, we got some 4 matches there already. Do a little splash damage here. And we get ourselves an extra turn. Some juicy true damage. And Skady should be able to kill this thing. Or we could kill it with skull damage like that. And kind of the nice thing about using Valkyrie like this for this particular event is you're gaining souls too. Because every time you transform with it, you gain souls. So that's just even more of a reason. Like, if you still need souls in the game, it's even more of a reason to use Valkyrie. Yeah, we're getting to the point now where I can't kill everything in one hit. But I do like this team. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you today in my Soulforge video for this week. So, thanks for watching my videos, as always. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.